Hello everyone, welcome to the show The Focus Line. Today we are going to discuss the many articles which are very crucial from the prelims perspective as well as from mains perspective. We are going to integrate the both prelims and mains perspective here to analyze these articles. So in this session we are going to discuss these articles. First is about the as told crosses 1400. It's about the earthquake in Afghanistan. We are going to discuss what is the causes and we will analyze it from the mains perspective. So you can write the answer if the question comes in future. Second is about the government can't sit on bill endlessly, Supreme Court. It's about the government's role to give assent on the bills. Third is about the Kerala government moves to Supreme Court on the CM's role in selecting vice-chancellors. So this is again the one is issue associated with the office of governor. So we are going to discuss that also. Then one article is about the sickle cell. So it is about the battle for disability and justice. So what is exactly we will see when we will discuss this particular article. And last is about the semiconductor. So this article we are going to discuss in detailed manner for the from the men's perspective, because this year they have asked the questions. We are going to discuss why we need independence, why we need self-reliance in semiconductor, what are the major challenges, and what is way forward further. So we'll start our discussion. First is about the earthquake in Afghanistan. So if you see the particular this article, there is one fresh 5.2 magnitude earthquake that hit eastern Afghanistan Tuesday. So near the same location that earlier 6 magnitude. So last week only there was one earthquake that hit in Afghanistan. It was a 6.0 magnitude and fresh sanitizer. Hello. Am I audible now? Please someone confirm. Am I audible? Hello. Yeah. We'll start now. I guess the first topic itself not very clear, so I will explain it again. So this particular earthquake that happened in Afghanistan, that happened in this particular region called the Kunar province, and this region is located in the Afghanistan and Pakistan border, and these particular borders that makes the place where the Eurasian and Indian plates collides. So this is the particular region that's why the earthquake, the magnitude of earthquake is so high. And there is one more reason that we'll see from this explanation. So if we see what exactly happened here, the particular place, the location of Afghanistan, that Afghanistan is located in, it is located in seismic boundary of Indian plate and Eurasian plate, where you can see this is the Indian plate and this is the Eurasian plate, and Afghanistan, location of Afghanistan is here. So, and the particular region that where the this earthquake happened, it is located in this particular boundary of the region. So that's why the magnitude of this particular earthquake is so high. And one more region is there. This is part of seismically active alpine belt. So you know there are the two most active earthquake belts are there. First is a Pacific Ring of Fire and second is Alpine Belt. Pacific Ring of Fire is somewhere located here, and this Alpine Belt, it starts from the Himalayas and it goes to the Alps in Europe. So this region where this currently earthquake happened, this again it also located in this Alpine Belt. So that's why this earthquake is the magnitude of earthquake is so high, because it is located on the this particularly where the two belts collides. One is the this boundary between India and European plate, and second is the Alpine belt. That's why the magnitude of earthquake is so high. Second region, the fault lines. Okay, the fault lines that forms the fault lines. They are the Hindu Kush region, which is located on fault lines, the Kunar province, which comes in this Hindu Kush region. That earthquake hotspot is because of the reverse faulting and thrust faulting. This particularly Hindu Kush region. Now the reverse faulting and thrust faulting. If you want to see what is reverse faulting, so consider this is the two mountain. This is the hanging wall, and this is the foot wall. So when this foot wall slides upside due to compression, so that time it is called as reverse faulting, because it is moving in reverse direction. And same when it thrust faulting, same thing happened. This hanging walls, this foot wall becomes the upper portion, and this hanging wall goes down. Now this part of them, when hanging wall goes up or this foot wall comes down, that time it is called as thrust faulting. And this is the significant, the most significant feature of this Hindu Kush region, where these two kinds of faultings are located: the reverse faulting and thrust faulting. And this is another one major reason behind this earthquake. And also from the, if you see why these particular regions are associated with this earthquake and the livelihood losses, because of the poor infrastructure. Poor infrastructure in the sense, if you see the quality of building, the houses that are the mud bricks houses, so they are very prone to collapsing. So that's why this infrastructure cause that higher death tolls. Also this particular the Kunar region, it is associated with high population density. So due to these two factors, this poor infrastructure and this population density, this also increased the higher death tolls. Okay, so it led to higher death tolls. So these are the major reason behind this earthquake. And if you say ask question in mains, you can write about all the aspect you need to bring it. One is about the Indian European plate, second is about the alpine belt, third is about the poor infrastructure, and fourth is about the population density. These are the major reasons. Okay, so we'll move toward the next article, which is about the Supreme Court reference, Supreme Court response to presidential reference. So, and it is part of GS2 polity. In polity section, UPSC asked the question. So, what is exactly just a brief background? Previously, I have discussed this topic in detail. So, in May, actually, if you are aware about if you are following news daily, then in April 2025, in Tamil Nadu, governor versus Tamil Nadu government case, this particular case, Supreme Court given that the 3-month timeline, for the to give assent on the bill, and this timeline applies to the both governor and the president. So Supreme Court in this particular case given the timeline, 3-month timeline for the governor and Supreme Court, the president to give assent on the state bill. In case of bill reserved for the presidential assent, then president's bound to give his assent in 3 months. Okay, and governor, in case directly referred to governor, that time governor also need to give his assent in 3 months. And this followed by the in May 2025, what happened? The President of India, the Honorable President of India, she referred presidential reference to Supreme Court to clarify on this stand, like whether the Supreme Court can give the direction on the deadline for the governor and the president or not. So this is the brief background of this case, and we'll see what exactly developments happened currently. So Supreme Court in this hearing, Supreme Court had some observation. The first observation is governor cannot delay independently. So the governor cannot delay the bill indefinitely. So they are referring to this 3-month timeline. So previously Supreme Court given the 3-month deadline, so that they are referring. So and also they are observed that this such delay impedes the functioning of the constitution. And two major this note given by the Justice Vikram Nath and Justice P.S. Narasimha. Justice Vikram Nath says governor cannot sit over the wisdom of legislature independently, because if you see the 3 tiers of the government, that is the legislature, judiciary and the executive. The governor is part of executive, where he is sitting the wisdom of the legislature, where the legislature is the representation of will of the people, and if governor is sitting on the bill, then he is sitting on the will of the people. So that is the reference here. Second, the note given by the Justice P.S. Narasimha, he says that no organ can impair the functioning of the constitution. So constitution also, whatever the bills the government is bringing, that are according to constitution, and the governor is sitting on these particular bills, then what is happening? It is the impairing the functioning of the constitution. So these two observations they have made. Now there is one more article which is related to issues related to governor's office. So the context is previously the Kerala governor he moved to Supreme Court over the role of the chief minister on appointment of the Vice-Chancellor. So he urged the Supreme Court to exclude chief minister from the appointment of the Vice-Chancellors. So this is the request done by the Kerala governor to the Supreme Court, and for this he cited the UGC regulations. Okay, so according to UGC regulations, Vice-Chancellor appointment should be made only by the Chancellor, okay, from the name suggested by the search committee, and in traditionally by convention, Chancellor would be the governor of the state. And this designation given by the governor from this one particular act, that is State Universities Act. So before that we'll see what is the exactly happening here. The governor referred to UGC guidelines, which UGC regulation, okay, they ensures the independence of universities. Okay, they have brought some certain guidelines to ensure the independence of university, where they provide the search committee should submit panel of eminent person and the free from the state interference. So to ensure the free and independent functioning of the university, UGC come with certain guidelines where they says that the search committee should submit the names of person and these should be free from the state interference. And the governor is referring these guidelines to exclude the chief minister from the appointment of the vice chancellors. And also there is conflict between the state government rule. So now the role of government, if you see, now the education, which is the concurrent list, okay, so entry 25 list 3, where the education is part of concurrent list. Let me know in comment section when under the which article education transferred to the concurrent list. Okay, and there is the State Universities Act, which is passed by the respective states. They gives the governor power to act as a chancellor of the state universities. So the governor act as a chancellor of university, not according to constitution but according to this State Universities Act. And also the UGC regulations, this UGC regulation forms the part of the union list. Okay, so union list, coordination of the higher education standards. So this is the one subject in the union list, and according to this list the UGC has formed certain guideline on the direction of the central government, and through this direction they have recommended that appointment of vice chancellor should be independent and away from the interference of the state. And also what is happening here, it is against the constitutional principle. So why it is against the constitutional principle? Because of the autonomy of university and the state control, they are coming in direct conflict, where the constitution envisages the university should work in or function in a free and fair manner. So that is not happening here. So this is there. So now if you see from the both article what exactly happened, why these kind of issues are emerging, be it the assent to the bill, delayed assent, or also the when the appointment for the vice chancellor comes into governor take as a task, then it becomes the issue. Why these issues happening? Because of the constitutional ambiguity. So if you see the constitutional prescription, where the constitution has said under article 153 and 162, governor has a constitutional head, okay, and he should be bound by the aid and advice of the council of minister. One exception, that is he not bound by the aid and advice of council of minister when he exercises power under this discretionary, he exercises his discretionary powers, and this has become discretionary power gray area. So this discretion power become gray area, and that's why the conflict is coming. And here the constitution is, there is ambiguity when it comes to the what comes under discretionary power. Okay. Second is the federal tension. If you see, when the governor and government strikes, by default these states are opposition ruled. So where the opposition ruled states are there, the governor is acting as a agent of the union. So that's why the federal tension is coming. So, and that's why these issues are emerging. Also there is conflict of law. So if you see the second article, why the issue emerged? Because of the conflict of law, conflict between UGC regulation and State University Act. So these kind of laws are there where constitutional ambiguity is there, and also certain federal tension due to political consideration, these issues are emerging. Now how it is threatening to constitutional position of governor. So because of the whatever the issues are, we consider governor as a constitutional head of the state. He should ensure that proper functioning of the federal structure. But due to this issue, there are the threat to constitutional position because of the erosion of neutrality. Now if you see, when it comes to opposition ruled state, what governor does, they act as a partisan actor and they align with the union government. So undermining their role as constitutional head, they act as a agent of the union governor. So that's why the issues are emerging. Second is disruption of federalism. If you see the delaying bill and interfering in state matter, what it does, it upsets the federal structure, because ultimately the state legislature or the governor has the certain power to frame the law. And what is happening here? Due to this, what is happening? The federal tension is coming into picture because of the difference between the union government and state government. And third is the judicial overhang. So what is happening? The frequent litigation. So let it bill for the bill. So let it for the bill and also for the vice chancellor appointments. Other issues are there. This what happens when the governor and the government comes into conflict. They goes to the Supreme Court or the High Court for take the issue. So what is happening? The state is acting, or the governor is acting litigants against the state government. Governor is acting as litigants litigants against the state government, and state government acting as litigant against the governor. So the executive in the state in conflict. So that is the one issue. Also, it is loss of moral authority. So because governor has pursued obstructing democracy, so the bill that the state legislature is bringing for the proper functioning, or it is a representation of will of people, and what is happening, the governor particularly, they are obstructing this particular bill, and that's why what is happening here, that it is obstructing the proper functioning of democracy. So these are the moral issues that are coming into force. So this is all about, you need to know about this governor, what are the issue coming. Already I have discussed one video where I have discussed the federalism on 15th August. I have uploaded, you can watch the video where I have discussed all the issues related when it comes to federalism, issue from the governor office and other perspective also, you can watch there. Next is about the India needs more women judges in Supreme Court. So this particular article is lobbying for the women's representation in the Supreme Court. So if you see what is the present scenario in Supreme Court, there is only one woman judge. Okay, that is Justice B.V. Nagaratna. Bandito. Disconnected. Okay, so if you see from independence, there are more than 230 judges. So out of 230, only 11 women judges were there. So what is represented? It is less than 5%. So that is the more major issue. In High Court also, if you see, there are more than 800 High Court judges, and out of 100 judges, hardly there are 100 women judges. So again, the representation is very less. It's about the 13%. So that's why the issue, again, the issue is there. So if you see in sub-judiciary, so relatively there is better representation where compared to the Supreme Court and High Court. So there are 30 to 35% judges, judicial officer or the judges in subordinate courts that are the women, and some state it is about the 40-45%. So where it is 40-45%, state like Bihar, Rajasthan. So why it is 40-45%? Because these already states have reservation. So different number of reservation is there, 35-40% reservation for the women. That's why the representation is higher in lower judiciary in these particular states. Now, if we see the issue in detail, so what are the factors impacting the low representation of women? If you see, there are the structural and institutional biasness. So when it comes to structural issues or institutional biasness, how the judges are appointed? They are appointed through the collegium process, and this collegium process is opaque, and there is no institutional mandate. Okay, so they consider the regional representation, all the ethnic caste wise representation, but they don't consider the gender representation. There is no institutional mandate to give the gender representation, and that is the one reason behind the low representation. Also, the appointment criteria focus on the seniority or the merit, regional biasness, but not gender, same only. If you see recently, Justice B.V. Nagaratna only, she pinned her dissent when the Supreme Court collegium referred two judges to Supreme Court. So that time she said that they are considered the seniority. So the particular Justice Pancholi, he was the 57th in number, but skipping all the senior member, they have taken him. So they have considered in the seniority criteria also the regional balance. So if you can see they have taken one from the Gujarat High Court, one from the Madhya Pradesh High Court. So they are considering regional balance, but they are not considering this gender. So that is the one more issue, one more factor that is leading to lower representation of women in judiciary. So second, if you see the barrier in career progression, what are the barrier? Because of if you see how the judges in High Court or Supreme Court appointed, the criteria governing constitution, they should have the certain number of experience. Let me know in comment section what is the number of experience according to constitution person should have to be appointed as a judge of High Court or Supreme Court. So if you see there are very few women who are designated as senior advocate. Okay, so the limiting their ability to get representation into this Supreme Court or High Court directly. So this is one factor. Also, the woman lawyer, they faces challenges due to the patriarchal network. So what are the cases referred by the client to the judges? Most of the cases because of they refer to the male judges for considering the patriarchy. Okay, so that is the one reason. Also, the delayed appointment. So if you see when the woman judges appointed, they appointed in later in their ages. So they will have the limited tenure in higher judiciary. So they ultimately will not rise till the level of Chief Justice of India. So that's why we don't have the single woman Chief Justice in India as of now. So next factor is the social cultural factor. So if you see that what are the traditional gender roles, though social expectation that discourages the woman for pursuing long career. So the woman expected to be in their traditional roles, that is the taking care of the family and also the cooking and serving for the family. So that's why they have the limitation on the long legal career. And also the woman lawyer, they propose disproportionately challenge balancing the family responsibility and demanding litigation career. So obviously the traditional roles, what are the roles given by the society, they are limiting their ability to balance the family responsibility and their career. So that is the one more reason. Also, lack of institutional support. Okay, so there is no systematic framework for mentorship, maternity benefit and flexible working arrangement in higher judiciary. So this is the one more reason where in other government offices there are the certain guidelines or certain maternity benefit, flexible work arrangements, but this is not present in the higher judiciary. This is one more reason. Also, another one crucial reason is inadequate infrastructure. If we see the woman specific infrastructure like the bathroom or other like caretaking rooms, all these facilities are not available in higher judiciary, and that is another one more factor that is limiting the representation. So we have seen what are the factor limiting. Now why we need to women in judiciary? If you see the first reason, that is they will bring the diversity and representation. So if a woman is coming, what will be there is inclusive presentation of not only the caste, region, race or the religion, but also the gender. That is one more major aspect, that the gender representation would be there, and it is improve the public trust, particularly trust of the women in judiciary system. The woman automatically will be encouraged to go to judiciary and acquire the justice. So that will be encouraged. Also the gender sensitive judgments. So if you see the kind of cases coming into judiciary, the cases related to sexual violence, family law, workplace harassment, gender rights, okay, even the many issues that new coming, lowering the marriage age, increasing lowering the marriage age or increasing the woman's marriage age, okay, also the cases like related to marital rape. So these are also all the gender sensitive cases, and if women are there, they will bring their lived experience, and through their lived experience they can give the gender sensitive judgment. So that's why we need women in judiciary. Also, it will help in correcting historical exclusion. So we have seen the only 11 women judges been there in Supreme Court. Also from before the independence, there was a hardly women judges. So we want to correct this historical exclusion, and also we want to adhere to our constitutional mandate, that is Article 14, right to equality, and also Article 15, non-discrimination based on the gender. Then we must go for the higher woman representation. Also, if you see from global perspective, where the countries like US, UK, Canada, they have the higher women in their judiciary, and it helps in balancing the gender-based judgment. So that is the one factor will help in increasing our reputation in the international forum. So that is the one more important. Also, if you see the SDG goals, so many of the SDG goal it talks about the gender equality, particularly SDG goal 5. So if you want to achieve this goal, then again we need to have the more women in judiciary. So now what we need to do? So we have discussed what are the factor impacting why we need women representation. Now it's time to what we need to do. So first is about the reservation. So we have seen the parliament has brought 33% reservation for women, considering there is low representation. So same applies for the judiciary. Also, we have seen certain states like Rajasthan, Bihar, they have the certain number of representation, and they have the proportional representation of women in subordinate judiciary. So there is proven that reservation helps in high representation. So the reservation can be done. Second is removing the drawbacks in collegium system. So what we need to do, collegium system, we need to bring the NJSC, that is National Judiciary Appointment Commission, where it gives the executive equal power as a judges to appoint judges. So that time the gender criteria can be considered. So these two are major steps that need to be taken. There are many steps that we can take, but this becomes very crucial. So we'll finish the discussion here. We'll move towards the next article. Next article is about the sickle cell, the battle for the disability and justice. So what is the context? The Indian government has revised the guidelines under the Rights of Person with Disabilities Act 2016. So under these guidelines, it provided framework to assess disability for the sickle cell disease. Okay, so if the sickle cell disease get recognition under this article, this act, that the rights to person with disability. So what will happen? The person with this sickle cell disease, he will get reservation in the educational and the jobs. Also, they will get allotment of agriculture land, housing, poverty alleviation schemes, healthcare and developmental benefits. So all these benefits they will get when it comes to when they will be this sickle cell disease will be included into right to person with disability. And this particular article is discussing about the challenges. So one major challenge this article that author has discussed is about the certification related. So if you want to prove your disability, any kind of disability, you need to take certification for that particular disability, and this is the very tough. And there is problem of accessibility when it comes to certificate. The stringent rules. Okay. Again, there is problem of corruption. Pooja Khedkar case, one more example. So these are all the factors impact when if you want to get the certification under this particular act, and these are the challenge would be faced if when the sickle cell disease will be included into this particular act. This article is discussing. Now we'll discuss what is the sickle cell disease. So you all will be aware about what is exactly sickle cell disease. So it is the genetic blood disorder. It is genetic. It is blood disorder caused by mutation in the gene for the hemoglobin. So if you see the normal functioning, these are the blood vessels. So particularly blood cells or the hemoglobin that will be in this shape. So what will happen? It will helps in free flow of blood. But when a person with affected with this particular sickle cell disease, what happens? These blood cells takes this sickle shape. So and what happens? This sickle kind of steps, instead of this one, you take this shape, and what will happen? It will block the blood flow. So this is the sickle cell disease. So the normal RBC, that red blood cells, that will be round, it will be flexible and live for 120 days. So when it comes to this sickle, these are the normal RBC. When you sickle RBC, that will be taken the sickle shape, it will take the crescent sickle shape, that will be rigid, break down early in 10 to 20 days and lead to chronic anemia. So that's why the sickle cell disease is very challenging for the person who affect this particular disease. Okay. So next, if we see what causes this particular disease. So if you want to discuss the reason causes, it is inherited in an autosomal recessive pattern. So it is inherited disease, and one person gets the disease from if the both parents, okay, if the both parents pass on the sickle genes, okay, then only he gets. And even if only one parent passes sickle cell trait, so it carries, but usually there will be no symptoms. Okay, so this is the one more issue, one more cause here. And if you see the high prevalence of this particular sickle cell disease, if you see mostly are this tribal belt of the Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Andhra Pradesh and Jharkhand. So these are the tribal belt where this particular disease is more prevalent. Also government is come with the National Sickle Cell Anemia Elimination Mission. So the government wants to eliminate the sickle cell anemia by the 2047. So this is the one more initiative taken, crucial initiative, and this is the part of Azadi at 100 year. Okay, so this is the one more initiative taken by the governor. Also, this article discussing why this recognizing sickle cell disease as the disability matters. So this article is particularly discussing about the recognition of sickle cell disease as a disability. So because why it is matter? Because it is chronic, it is invisible and fluctuating disability. So all the chronic disability, because they will be impacting the education attainment, the employment and the life expectancy. We have seen how the period of the RBC will be reduced to 10 to 20 days, and so obviously it will impact the life expectancy. Also there will be certain problem when it comes to the attainment, education and employment. Also it disproportionately affect the marginalized community. So we have seen the where it is prevalent in the tribal belt, where already they have facing the low income. When it comes to healthcare sector, the problem of accessibility, affordability and the availability. So these are all the problems faced to be in this particular tribal belt, and that's why it is the need to include in the disability matters. And after getting disability inclusion into disability, what are the benefits they will get? They will get reservation in education, jobs. Also they will get allotment of agricultural land, the housing, benefits in poverty elevation scheme, the healthcare facility and developmental benefit. That's why this matters. Okay. So the next article is about the semiconductor. Okay. So the Prime Minister, he says that India sets to eye on 1 trillion semiconductor market, and he promises the faster approval. So this is the last article we are going to discuss now. And if you see why this, but we are going to discuss in very detailed manner this particular article, because it is already came into mains 2025. So what in this article? So the India has kept proposed some of the goals. Okay, when it comes to the 1 trillion global semiconductor market, India wants to have significant share. They are not commit with exact figure. So we'll see when they will come exact figure. So Prime Minister itself says that they will give the faster clearance. Okay, so he announced the steps to cut approval time for the chip project. Okay, so next phase of India's semiconductor. So the next phase, there is one scheme, the India Semiconductor Mission is underway. Under this scheme, the approval time will be cut down. Again, there will be project in pipeline, some project in pipeline where the 5 more project cleared in 2025 on the Independence Day also itself, and now it totally take to the 10 projects, and the combined investment is around the $80 billion. So it is nearly 1.5 lakh crore. So this is the written in this particular article. Also the rationale behind is because of the why we need to have self-reliant semiconductor, because the chips are digital diamond. Okay, and they are the core economical driver. We have seen the oil was the economical driver in 20th century, but this century the chips are the core economic diamond, and they are considered as digital diamonds. So we'll see why they are important for us, why the India need domestic semiconductor ecosystem. There we are going to discuss in detail. So if you see what from the geostrategic and security perspective, we need to have the supply chain sovereignty, because of the, if you see the COVID related case, COVID time, the Russia-Ukraine war, the Taiwan tension that is between China and Taiwan, that time there was a disruption in the semiconductor supply chain. And what is exact that will leave? Because it will hamper our ability to take the next generation innovations. Okay. Also the trusted electronics for the defense. So we are expanding our defense. Okay. So we are bringing the next generation innovation in our defense sector. So that time we need to have the semiconductor sovereignty. So because we can ensure the self-reliance in defense sector. We no longer will be dependent on the other countries. Also from the economical perspective, the value capture. Okay. So currently India does, India only assembles. Okay, but they imports the most of the chip. When it comes to design and production, India imports most. What is exactly happened? It is leading to large import bill, and we are just assembling. So it is what is leading? It is thin margin. So what is thin margin leading to? Low profitability. So it is low profitability. Business person wants to ensure the more profitability. What he will do? It will increase the cost, and ultimately the inflation that will be passed to the people. So that is one more issue. And also the import bill perspective. Also from the job and skill, if you see the semiconductor, it has the design, fabrication, packaging, equipment and specialty chemical jobs, and strong multiplier in tooling and material. So if you see the whole semiconductor ecosystem, it has the huge potential to offer job in different arena, that is design, fab, packaging, equipment, all these things. Okay. Also, it is an anchor for the sunrise sector. Now we have seen the EV, that is electrical vehicle, power electronics. Okay, and then the again 5G, 6G, AI is there. We are focusing on IoT, the medical devices, smart energy, that is renewable energy, and all this where semiconductor is very crucial. And if we want to support this sunrise sector, we must have the sovereignty or the self-reliance in semiconductor. Also, the export potential and scale, if you see, this all the India, we have seen that there is market of $1 trillion in over the world. And what will lead? It will give us huge export potential. And what will the export potential lead? It will give us exchange rate stability. So from this perspective, also it is important. Also, it will reduce the volatility in forex. So from that perspective, it is also important. Also from the technology innovation perspective, so what will happen? So if you are more designing more component, we are innovating more, what will happen? We will own the more intellectual property and the specialty tube. So what will exactly happen? It will boost our representation or the reputation in global market. Also, it will attract the more industries to India, so that there would be, will can support the make in India, also develop the country. So bringing the more investment into India. Also, it will also have the R&D spillover. If you started R&D in the semiconductor ecosystem, automatically it will spill over to other region, other parts of the ecosystem. So that time it will also benefit. So this is all about, you need to know why the semiconductor is important, ecosystem important. Now there are the crucial challenges when it comes to the semiconductor. First is the capex and risk related. So if you see the greenfield fab cost, it costs around 8 billion to 15 billion each, and there has the long yield ramp. Okay, so slow payback. So currently what we are developing now, it will take the long time to come into and give us benefits. Okay, so there is the slow payback. So that will discourage the industries to invest in semiconductor. Also, if you see the designs, that is design, all the R&D, that is the ever evolving. So day by day there is a change in design, there is change in need. So what will happen? It will discourage the industrialists to invest in the semiconductor. Also, when it comes to technological access, the licensing for the leading nodes, equipment, export controls, okay, and dependence on the few global vendor. So currently the Taiwan, China, and the many Southeast Asian countries, they have the monopoly in the technology. So it will be difficult to take the intellectual property right and also the access this through the licensing. Also, the ecosystem depth, if you see, it needs the steady supply of ultra pure water. It needs 24/7 clean power and specialty in gases, chemical, the spare parts, local tool services. So these all, what will happen? It will increase the cost of production, and that will again going to discourage the semiconductor production. Also, if you see the talent gap, what we have is shortage of experienced process, the equipments, not only the personal, the human resources, but we have the, when it comes to the material resources, that is equipment, the process gap, we all we are hunting by this talents gap. That is one more issue. Again, the global subsidy race, if you see the USA, that US chips, this is one initiative brought by USA to reduce its dependency on the Taiwan as well as the China. So also the European chips, the Korea Taiwan package, these are the huge when it compares to India. So whatever India is supporting, that is the very less when compared to these benefits given by the other country. Also, if you see the policy exclusion, the land environmental clearance, the custom friction for the tool, predictable fiscal support over the 10 to 15 years. So what is the, we don't have the low fiscal support, but also there is complexity in the land laws. Okay, so we have, when it comes to the land takeover or the land acquisition, we are facing problem. When again when it comes to labor reforms, we are lagging there. So these are going to hamper the semiconductor ecosystem. Also, when it comes to the market risk that I was discussing, that semiconductor, this design is ever evolving. So there is cyclical demand, need anchor optics. So we need to ensure that our design, our innovation will meet the need of the present time. So if it's not meeting, then again whatever we are producing, it will be burden on us. So we need to meet the cyclic demand and need to be an anchor when it comes to the innovation. Also, when it comes to sustainability, we know that we are one of the third largest emitter of the greenhouse gases, and particularly if we see the current days we are facing the water shortage, and for the semiconductor manufacturing, particularly fabs, we need the steady supply of water. And what will lead? It will lead to high footprint. Okay, high footprint of the greenhouse gases, and if not, we don't have the green power. So currently we have the it limited below 50% energy from the green sources. So that will again going to hamper our ability. Next, now we have seen the why India need to be self-reliant. We have seen what are the challenges. Now we'll see what we can be done here, what steps government has been taken, and then we'll see what we can do, what the way forward. So government has came with India Semiconductor Mission in 2021. So it is an umbrella program to build the fabs, display plants. Okay, so this is the one umbrella project for the semiconductor. Also there is capital incentive scheme called the Semicon India program. So these are the two different, one is India Semiconductor Mission, second is Semicon India program, which is the capital incentive scheme. So here the government is giving up to 50% of project cost to support for the fabs. So if you want to establish the semiconductor fabs, government is giving 50% subsidy on the capital cost. Also there is scheme called design linked incentives. So here the government is giving domestic fabless design companies. So they are giving the support to the companies who are designing the semiconductor domestically. So this is the one more important scheme. Also the chip to startup, this is one theme. This is basically talent hunt scheme, where the government is bringing the large scale skill workers into and converting their skill into startup. So this is one. And another scheme is the SPICS and the PLI. PLI is production linked incentive scheme. So the 25% of capex support for the components. Okay, under this scheme, government is giving the 25% capex support for the component. Also, there are the 5 additional projects that we have discussed. In 15th August, government has launched 5 additional projects in 2025. So total will be 10 projects. So we'll be having the $80 billion ka investment in the semiconductor ecosystem. So these are the all government initiatives. Now the what we need to do. If you see what we need to do, we need to anchor demand the contracts. Okay, so we need to secure the demand. So from the auto, be it rail sector, be it from power sector, defense sector. So we can, with long tenure, optic to stabilize the fab cash flow. Okay, so we need to have the back-end support and front-end support. So we need to ensure the back-end support from the this one, power supply, the water supply, or the whatever needs, and also the front supply, that is the export, the market generation. So we can stabilize the semiconductor market. Second is the single window clearance. So we can give the time bound clearance for the all approvals and import duty waivers for to importing the whatever the tools or the equipments they need. Also we need to ensure that talent stack. So what we are facing now, the brain drain. So we need to convert this into brain gain. So whatever the talent, the skilled workforce that is going out of country, we need to retain that, and we need to bring the expertise from the diaspora. So that's why from that way we can minimize this talent skill gap. Also we need to focus on green utility MOUs. So whatever the MOUs are happening, or whatever the investment is coming, most of the investments are coming into this particular brownfield. So we need to focus on more on green utility MOUs. So the more and more this particular investment comes into the greenfield project. Also we need to ensure the recycling. So whatever the water crisis is there, water related issue, we can ensure the 80% of water that can be recycled. Also we need to ensure on-site gas chemical plants to each cluster, so there can be stable support for this particular sector. Also we need to focus on the R&D and intellectual property flywheel. So there will be, we need to fund the these R&D projects, and also we need to streamline the process of intellectual property. So from this perspective, we can ensure the more R&D, more investment in the particular this scheme. Also for the conclusion, I have got very nice quote, you can use it for conclusion. If the 20th century, previously there was question, if the 20th century of Asia, there 21st century will be of Africa. So from that perspective, I have got this one quote. If the 20th century ran on oil, the 21st century will be run on chips. So India's bet is to secure both the brains and the foundation of that future. So this particular quote you can use for the conclusion. So here we are finishing discussion. Tomorrow we will come with more articles. We will discuss in 360-degree manner. We'll discuss the from prelims perspective as well as mains perspective. So I'll finish this one. Thank you very much.